Welcome to Mainland, Nelson, Tasman's regional television station. I'm Chrissy Small. Coming up in this week's news roundup, local expert network on climate change repercussions. Woman has pushed off her bicycle, refugee services move, cause for concern and more. Nelson police are investigating a situation in which a woman had her bicycle stolen off her and are seeking witnesses to the incident. The woman was in Tasman Street, Nelson, about 5 p.m. on Monday the 5th of October when she was approached by a man who demanded her bike and pushed her off it. The bike was located later that day outside a house in North Road. The offender is described as a male of Maori descent in his early 20s, and he was wearing a white t-shirt and black shorts. Anyone who witnessed this incident or saw someone fitting this description on a purple mongoose bicycle shortly after 5 p.m. on Monday is asked to contact Detective N. Langridge at Nelson Police. Police are also asking that anyone who was in the area who had a dashboard camera operating to review their footage for signs of the man on the bicycle and to assist police if they can. Some in Nelson's Victory community are feeling uncomfortable about the decision made by New Zealand Red Cross to move the Refugee Service Office from the Nelson Central City to their Tahunanui premises. The Refugee Resettlement Program has been operating from Bridge Street, Nelson since 2007, while the Red Cross has been operating all other services from its Parkers Road premises since the 1970s. Due to operational reasons, Red Cross have made a decision to move all services to Parkers Road. Graham O'Brien spoke with Trevor Irwin, a solicitor for community law assisting the refugees, and Tung Tung, who is a spokesman for refugees in Nelson, about their concerns over the negative impact that this move will have on the local refugee community.
Thanks for joining us, Trevor.
No problem, thanks Graham.
How do you feel that this moving of the Red Cross services will affect the refugees in Nelson?
It'll affect them greatly and in a negative way. The service is there for the refugees, obviously, and at the moment there's a great wraparound service of a lot of community organisations, refugee services obviously, Multicultural Council, ourselves, community law, and also access to school, Victory Centre, WIN's office, it's all in a walking distance. It's a familiar office, they can drop in, and moving out to Tahuna, it's not just a shift of office across town, it's really upsetting to the refugees themselves. They've now got to catch a bus, 2 buses actually, all the way out to Tahuna and back again. So it just doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah, so it is a bit further than what people realise. I've heard it's $11 actually round trip out to Parkers Road and back.
That's right, yeah, and it's not just the money, but that is an issue in itself. They're not wealthy people, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's 2 buses and then it's a walk from there. A lot of the refugees would generally be women with children using the service, would be carrying their babies, or young children, so it's a big deal to just to visit there now.
Sure, and in the office, in the Red Cross refugee office, they have translators, they have literature for the refugees.
That's right, yeah, and they've got people that can help them in whether it's Bhutanese or Chin or Burmese, whichever language they need assistance with. They're familiar with where it is, the people who are there. Not to say the staff are changing, but it's just the environment. They're just by the nature of where they've come from, they've had very unsettled lives, to say the least. So it's just adding to it, and the stress, and we're just worried about them not getting the service that they need.
Sure. And what's your concerns with the actual process that you've gone through? Suddenly they said we're moving, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, there was a meeting. Shane Laulu, sorry if I don't get his name correct, came down to Nelson, had a couple of meetings, but it was more after the fact rather than any sort of consultation. So the only concrete answer we got there is that the Refugee Services is moving to Tahuna, and not what will be in its place to provide for the refugees in Nelson. So.
Sure, and Red Cross has come back and given us a bit of a statement, and they said that they're not an office-based organisation, that they actually are mobile and get out into the community. Does that comment fit with what you know of their services?
Well, we got some indication from that same meeting that they do use a similar system in the Hutt Valley, in Wellington and the Hutt. They do have mobile services and offices that they That's like outreach officers. There was some indication that that might happen in Nelson, but again, there's no commitment to that. It's just this might happen. They might be more mobile. They might have an office, a temporary office somewhere in Victory, but it's all just up in the air, which is, it's just, again, very, very unsettling. And
Yeah, so for Nelson, we don't really know what we're going to get.
No, that's right. It's exactly. The only thing we do know is they're moving.
Yeah.
And the other thing, it's not just for the refugees, obviously that's paramount, but it's the volunteers themselves. They come in to volunteer in Nelson City. They're often walking on bikes. It is they are volunteers after all. So now they, in turn, have to go all the way out to Tahuna just to volunteer their time, which adds to it. So it's just it's an inconvenience all round. Yeah.
Sure. Well, Trevor, thanks for that, and we might look into that a bit more. Like I say, Red Cross wouldn't give us an interview. They did send us a few statements, and we've covered a few of those points today. Hopefully, they'll come back after seeing the interview.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you.
Tung Tung, as spokesman for the former refugees in Nelson, how do you feel about this move of the Red Cross refugee services out to Parkers Road?
In my point of view, Parker Road's moving is very bad news because a lot of people living in Victory Square, over 1,000 people. So Red Cross, they work for us, our former refugee. So if we cannot connect with Red Cross people, we don't have hand like that. So we really, really need Red Cross people to live in CBD area in Nelson.
Sure, I mean, it makes it nice and easy for everyone to get there. So for the best case scenario for you, what would it be?
If possible, the best case is if they can live in Nelson. That is for me, I like the best. And then if not possible, like maybe 2 days in a week or 3 days in a week, if they can live in Victory Squares or in other place, that would be great.
Sure, and how about, I mean, a lot of the refugees work different hours, shift workers. Is there something that they need after hours service for these workers?
Yes, depend on family. A lot of people, they are working in factory and then they don't, everyone is, same time is different. So if, for example, myself, I'm working and then I'm studying. And if I have free time, just I will go and Red Cross, and then if I have some problem, I will tell them. So in after working hours also, that will be great for us.
Excellent. Thanks very much for your comments, Tung Tung, and we wish all the best for the former refugees and try to sort this problem out.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for questioning, and then all the best. Thank you.
For many in the suburb of Tahuna Nui on Monday morning, the snap, crackle and pop they heard was not breakfast, but a truck trailer carrying gas cylinders ablaze on Quarantine Road in Nelson. Cordons were put in place on Quarantine Road and traffic wanting to get to the Nelson Airport had to follow police diversions, with some travellers missing flights due to the delay caused. Nearby residents and businesses were asked to stay indoors, particularly those downwind of the fire and in the Parkers Road direction. However, some weren't able to begin work until after the all clear had been given by the fire service soon after 3 p.m. that afternoon. I spoke with one worker who'd come across the fire soon after 6 a.m, which he described as relatively small when he first arrived. Michael from Sea Dragon, I believe you were witness to the beginning of this fire, or near enough?
Yes, I seen it start this morning.
What time was that?
I got about here about 20 past 6.
So that's, and what did you first see?
A little bit of smoke and a little bit of fire coming out of the back of the truck.
Okay, and were you aware that the driver had to disengage the trailer?
No, I didn't see that, but no, I seen the fire department turn up.
Did you hear any explosions?
There was a couple of bangs and pops, yeah.
So, okay, and when did the police arrive?
I think it was about 20 minutes after I turned up.
Okay, so they've been sending traffic off in other directions?
Yes, it became very chaotic and all the streets were closed off and everyone turning up at work.
Do you know if there's any injuries?
I didn't see any, but the ambulance was here, yes.
So it's been a long ongoing thing. We're just after 9 o'clock, so it's been quite a fire.
Yes, it has. It was a massive blaze at one stage. It was very high, a lot of smoke.
Were you concerned for your safety?
Oh no, we were far enough away that, yeah. There was a lot of people standing there watching it very close though.
Really?
Yes.
Was that before the police got involved?
Once the fire department here, there were still people standing around watching.
Well, they like to tempt fate, don't they?
People like to tempt fate, they do, don't they? Yes. Yep.
Thank you very much.
That's no problem.
Last weekend, Nelson hosted the New Zealand Arboricultural Association annual competition on Friday and Saturday to find out who was the best of the best climbers in the country to represent New Zealand at the 2015 World Champs. Graham O'Brien spoke to organiser David James to find out more about this event.
David James, you've organised this competition today, and fantastic job you've done so far. Can you tell us a little bit about the competition and what's going on here?
Yeah, thanks very much, Graham. Yeah, the competition is the New Zealand National Tree Climbing Competition, or we call it the Tree Climbing Championship, and we've got several climbers up in the trees already. You might be able to see them, and they're doing what they'd normally do in their workday. For instance, today the two events we're doing are the speed climb, the belayed speed climb, and the footlock. And just to give you, you've probably been watching, that's the time from the time they leave the ground to the time they ring the bell at the top. And quite interesting, a bit later on tonight, if you hang around, we've got the current world record holder for the females, Nikki Ward-Allen. She'll be climbing probably around about 5:30, so we're expecting a top time from her. And then tomorrow the guys and girls come back and they do 3 other events. The work climb, which is in this tree here behind us, this great big nice cedar, and they'll do everything they do in a work day. They'll go to different stations in the tree, ring bells, or do tasks like throw logs out of the tree, mimic pruning branches off a tree, and then they'll come down and land, and you'll see the bullseye over there, somewhere over there, bullseye on the ground, and they've got to land there and they get bonus points for wherever they land. Yeah, and then a couple of the other events they do, there's an aerial rescue just along a wee bit from where we are. They've got to rescue a dummy. Their time, they've got 5 minutes max, so they want to do it in under 5 minutes to get up into the tree and get the dummy down. And then the last event they do in the preliminary events is the throw line, where we use a small weighted bag filled with shot, and we fire that into a tree by hand, and then use that to pull our climbing line, and that's how we access the tree. Because you might have been looking here and thinking, how the heck did they get up there? Well, it's just with a use of a throw line. So we throw into the tree, then pull our climbing line up. So the whole time from when we leave the ground to when we get up to do whatever we're doing, we're always connected to the tree, no free climbing. Yep, and then the top climbers we'll be choosing the top 4 men, the top 2 women. They'll compete in the Masters climb, and it's not for old people as some people think. For Masters, it's the best of the best. So the top guys, the top girls, they'll compete in one tree. They'll have half an hour to do everything in that tree. So all the preliminary events that you see, we put that together on one event, and so they've got to go from the ground into the tree, ring a whole lot of bells and do some tasks in the tree and get down within 30 minutes. And then from that we'll have a winner. And the winners from there, but wait, there's more. The winners, they'll get to go to San Antonio in Texas next year to represent the New Zealand chapter at the International Tree Climbing Competition. And so that's a buzz. Like, a lot of them want to do that. And currently, just in the top of the tree we're looking at now, the footlock tree, you'll see Scott Forrest up there. He's a previous world champion. And Nikki, who's the world record holder for the footlock climbing a bit later on, she was a previous female world champion. So New Zealand rocks. Tree climbing, we're it.
That's right. I mean, you seem to have a lot of world-class people here, and this is a competition where they're going to get to go and compete in that world-class competition?
That's right, yeah. There's the best of the best all gathered together in the world, and New Zealand, we've had 4 world champion climbers to date. Scott, he's a 3 times world champion. Chrissy Spence, she's won it 3 times as well. Nikki's won it a couple of times, and Elena O'Neill she's down deep south, down Dunedin way, she's also won it 1 year. So we're pretty good, yeah.
And you put all this event together, and how hard has that been?
Well, it's always a challenge to put an event on, but I've got a really good committee behind me, guys and girls that are passionate about what they do. We love trees and we love climbing trees, so it's pretty easy, really. And the help of Husqvarna, I must mention them because they're our major sponsor. They pour a lot of money into the competition to assist us in what we're doing, and we really appreciate their input, as well as a whole lot of other lower level sponsors that are really important to helping us put on such an event.
That's great. And are you competing yourself?
No, not me, no. I enjoy judging, although at this event I'm not judging because I'm too busy running around. Yeah.
Hey, thanks very much for the work that you're doing, and good luck for everything over the weekend.
That's great. Thanks, Graham. Appreciate it.
The leading results in the Treescape Men's Masters was taken out by Dale Thomas, while Steph White took out the Espund Women's Masters. Graham caught up with Steph at the event on the weekend.
Steph, you represented New Zealand at the Florida competition earlier this year. How was it for you?
Sensational, really good exposure for New Zealand to be over at the Worlds. We usually do really well. We had a returning world champion. It's the World International Tree Climbing Competition. So there's many countries that go, sort of 18 countries, a field of 80 climbers, sort of 18 to 20 women and 60 men. So there's a lot of climbers doing their best to win, yeah.
You know, that's just huge numbers, isn't it?
It is. It's not a true representative of how many people are working in the field, but there's still, there's up to 2,000 in New Zealand that are working arborists, so it's a small collection really.
And what got you into it? Is it just a hobby for you?
I got into it through doing arboriculture, so I'm a qualified arborist, work in Arrowtown. It's just another niche activity to do. It keeps you up to date with new technology, new equipment that's out on the market, and safety working in the trees. Yeah.
And you really like the competitions to sort of show off what you've been learning?
Yeah, for sure. It's always a tough ask when there's really good climbers in the country, so it's always a challenge every time. Yeah.
Excellent. Steph, thanks very much and good luck for the rest of the competition.
Oh, thanks very much.
Cheers.
If you're worried about someone's state of mind, asking them about suicide will not increase their risk, but ignoring their distress can. Latest statistics out do not make good reading for our region, as suicide deaths have reached the second highest level in the Nelson-Marlborough region since records first began. This appears to be a worrying trend, as the national figures between June last year and May this year are at the highest figures since they were first produced for the 2007 and 8 years, with 569 people having died by suicide. A total of 18 suicide deaths in our region this year was up on the previous year's total of 13. However, the worst year on record was the 2011 and 12, when 24 people took their lives. The highest demographic for deaths is in the 20 to 24-year-old group, with 61 deaths nationally, followed by the 40 to 44-year-old group with 58 deaths. Nelson-Marlborough District Health Board is one of 5 health boards around the country which currently has programs in place with a focus on support for rural communities and resilience in the workplace to help address these issues. But can more be done? We asked people in the street of Nelson their thoughts on this taboo topic.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but if the numbers are up, obviously it isn't.
Yeah.
I'm studying social work at the Polytech, and I've just done a lot of research around it, and I definitely think it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it probably, but from what I've read, there's so much information, there's so many strategies and action plans, and like you just said, it's just the rates are the same, so we're obviously not looking at what's really going on. So something different needs to be done to what's being done now.
You don't think it just needs more funding thrown at it? And there's a lot of funding's already been put into it, like you say.
They're not looking at the right areas, I don't think. Yeah. I don't know, to be honest.
It's such a tough call, and it's such a tough issue. We really want to get to the bottom of what's going on.
I think we were just talking to somebody in the market. Basically, people aren't happy, and when we're looking at why aren't people happy, what's actually going on to have people want to commit suicide. It's obviously all these people that are actually doing it, but there must be a whole lot of people that are thinking about it and wanting to do it that aren't being recognised as well. I've read somewhere suicide's an indicator of what's going on in society and how people are feeling. It's not good. So yeah.
Last week in Nelson, Dr. Tord Kallstrom spoke at the Nelson-Marlborough Institute of Technology as a member of the Ruby Coast Climate Centre about what their research has uncovered for the future of life on planet Earth for future generations. I spoke with Tord about the group and their research. Tord Kallstrom, Ruby Bay Coast Research Centre. This is a local organisation. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Well, it's quite informal. It's 8 people who all have a great interest and concern about climate change, and all of them also have substantial experience in research that is relevant, like geography, physics, physiology, occupational health, which is my area. So we came together some years ago, and we have developed this analysis of how the heat for working people is going to increase, and of course hundreds of millions, if not billions of people will be much worse affected than they are now, and in many parts of the world already people are affected.
Right. The effects on Antarctica, glaciers melting and basically sea level rise. But you're saying that this other research that you're doing is actually going to have a far bigger and greater impact?
Well, it depends on where you live in the world, of course, and the sea level rise is certainly extremely important, and it's been calculated, and there are projections into the future, but it will take several hundred years, even under the worst scenario, before the sea level rise becomes extremely bad for a country like New Zealand. It's different in Kiribati and the Maldives and these very, very low islands where actually one storm with very, very high tide can wipe out the whole village. So that's different. But for most people in the world, the sea level rise is something that's going to get us into trouble several hundred years from now. While the heat problem is already there, and every year and every decade it's getting worse, and it means more and more difficulties for daily life for people living in the tropical areas. So it's not going to be a big problem for New Zealand because the baseline heat is not so bad here. But if you're in the south of India where it's 45 degrees in the afternoons on average for several months, going up to 50 degrees is going to make it impossible to live there.
So you're putting together reports on this. Well, it's going to be quite a phenomenal impact on these third world countries we're talking about. What can be done to help them?
Well, first of all, we really have to take the prevention of actual climate change much more seriously. It is starting to happen, of course. More and more governments are understanding that they really need to put in efforts to change our energy system away from coal and oil and gas that is fracked out of the ground, and instead use solar energy systems, use wind energy systems, and other, well, of course, hydroelectric power. We're very lucky in New Zealand to have so much of it. So this will absolutely have to change as fast as possible. That's the most important prevention for these poor people in the tropical countries. But the other thing is that the heat problems are already there, and we need to make sure that people who have to work in hot situations are actually protected. And there's again hundreds of millions of people, those young women who make our shoes and shirts in Cambodia and Bangladesh and Vietnam, etc. They sometimes in the summer are working in inside building at 40 degrees. And they have no air conditioning, and it's extremely difficult for them. And according to our research, they have to work several hours longer every day. So instead of working 10 hours a day, they work 12 or 13 hours a day during the hot part of the year, and they don't get more pay. And if you're in such a job, and that applies even to forestry workers here in Nelson, for instance, that during the hot parts of the year, they have to take more rest. They have to bring lots of water to drink because they lose liquid from the body through sweating. So all of those prevention methods need to be applied, and that's how we can help these countries to get a better outcome for their people. But it's not easy, and it requires, I think, the heat problem to be more in the focus of what governments and science organizations are thinking about.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region. Edward Gibbon, the bathroom specialist, have a great range of bathroom ideas at their showroom at 23 McGlashan Ave in Richmond. Call in and check out some of the latest bathroom designs and fittings. Edward Gibbon, the bathroom plumbing and drainage supply specialist, 23 McGlashan Ave, Richmond.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
I'm Francis from Nelson Auto Glass. We repair all auto glass, stone chips, windscreen replacements, scratch removal.
If you have an auto glass issue, our team will sort it.
Nelson Auto Glass Specialist, 84 Vanguard Street, Nelson.
Welcome to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that fat old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour.
We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time.
Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics toys,
sound systems, cables and much, much more. JCar.
120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
Sit and Be Fit is on at the Victory Community Centre Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. at the Victory Community Church, 238 Upper Vanguard Street. School terms only. Fun while you get fitter, work at your level.
On behalf of all of us here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.
Yes! Yes!
Yes! Here at Yes Shop, we love the word yes.
Yes!
We say yes to kitchenware. We say yes to beauty. We say yes to homewares. We say yes to fashion. We say yes to electronics.
Yes to Philips. Yes to Dell. Yes to Apple.
Happy Cool, Glad, Goldia, Huron and thousands of other products in our store.
Yes!
Say yes to TV shopping that's all about fun, made right here in New Zealand with Kiwi presenters like me.
Yes! Say yes to the ultimate service.
With dedicated presenters taking the product out of the box and showing you how it works.
And what it can do for you.
Say yes to our international buying power. That lets us bring you the best bundles at the best bargains.
All from the comfort of your own home.
24 hours a day.
So what are you waiting for?
There's nothing quite like it.
Come with me.
Say yes to Yes Shop.
Yes!
Edward Gibbon, the bathroom specialist, have a great range of bathroom ideas at their showroom at 23 McGlashan Ave in Richmond. Call in and check out some of the latest bathroom designs and fittings. Edward Gibbon, the bathroom plumbing and drainage supply specialist, 23 McGlashan Ave, Richmond.